far as early in Canaan, imagine how far they went as time went by. See, we just now leaving Moses. We just now leaving Aaron, Gershon. That wasn't very long at all. They forgot awful fast what God had done for them. Where were they for 430 years? They were in Egypt being slaves. And then where were they 40 years? In the wilderness. And God brought them to the land of milk and honey. Gave them all the good things of the land. And in no time at all, they started worshiping the idols. The first thing he told them to do was to go and to kill all the people. As a little child, I used to think, oh, that was terrible. Go kill all the people. But what God was doing was getting the land, we could say detoxified, or he was getting all of the people that were worshiping idols out of the way so that they wouldn't contaminate his people. And they didn't do that. So they just lived with the people and began to worship as they worshiped, and God was very angry with them. And actually what they did was they would capture the people and make them slaves and so forth, but the Lord would change the strength of the people, and the people would turn around and make them slaves, and then they'd call on God. Not that they would repent, but they wanted deliverance. And the reason why they would do this is because they were not taught. They were not taught how to serve God, who God was. They didn't even know who he was. And that's a terrible thing. That's why it's so important for us to teach our children. Because if we don't, then there's generations of our descendants that we send to hell. And we love our children, we love our grandchildren, but if we don't teach them, we're doing them a horrible disservice. Okay, now I gave you all a little drop of frankincense, and frankincense is one of the oils that we read about in the scriptures. It is very, very important oil. I gave it to you so that you could smell it, and it helps with your spiritual feelings. It's oils go into your nose through the olfactory system, goes up into your brain, and goes to the different points in your brain that needs it. Okay, if you have smelled smoke, it'll go to the amygdala, which will say, okay, it's time for you to move. If it goes to another part of the brain, it'll say, that smells like grandma's pie, you know, and you'll start thinking about that. Okay, now I have some oils that I use for studying, and you'll smell this and you'll study, and then when you go to your classroom, if you have that and you smell it, you'll think about what you studied. These are all things that God has given us. On the third day of creation, God gave us the flowers, the shrubs, the trees, and so forth. The scriptures say that the trees were for the leaves for the healing of the nation. So these things we get from God, and we think medicines are good for us, and they are somewhat, but God gave us all these natural things that are so much better, and we have no side effects from what God gives us. Okay, these oils are very concentrated. This frankincense comes from the boswellia tree in Somalia, and frankincense, people don't tell you, is so good that it can cure brain cancer. It has been able to cure brain cancer because it goes past the blood-brain barrier. Nothing else can. A scalpel cannot go into your blood-brain barrier. The only way that it gets to it is through inhalation. That's how you use the essential oils. Now it takes 220 pounds of lavender flowers to make 7 pounds of essential oils. A lavender flower is about that big. Okay, it takes 60,000 rose blossoms to make 1 ounce of essential oil. Okay, 1 drop of essential oil contains 40 million trillion molecules. That's 4 with 19 zeros behind it. Okay, 1 drop of our body, we have 100 trillion cells, but 1 drop and our body will cover 40,000 molecules. So just a little bit is all you need, because if you put more on, it's like, I probably told you before, it's just like all of us, they say fire, and all try to get through this door.